We want to welcome everybody here 50 years later. We want to thank the cheerleading squad and especially Stan Trout, the principal, and the drum set. We really appreciate you guys being here. How many people were at the game? Would you raise your hand? So most of the people in this room were at the game. I want anybody that wants to comment about their situation. Curtis Fisher is going to be handing the microphone around the players here. And Joe Lamb, where's Joe? Joe's going to be handling for the regular audience, okay? Okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to show these nice spirited people our spirit. And we're all going to stand up and we're going to do our fight song, Charles Page High Forever. Okay, let's all stand up. Are you ready? Let's do it. Charles Page High Forever. Hail, hail, things all here, and our colors will we'll stick together for the black and the gold. Way to go. Have a seat. Now that's the spirit. That's the spirit. So we got our cheerleaders and pep club here, and so you guys know what's going to happen 50 years from now, okay?
Do it how we do it now. You can show them how it's different. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Charles Page High forever. We will always be faithful and loyal in our love for thee. Love each other. Hail, hail, the game's all here. Round our colors, hold up now. We'll stick together for the black and the gold.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for your presence. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, my name is Carrie Schlahuber. I am Vic and Barbara Chappelle's daughter. If you knew Vic Chappelle.
We all remember Barbara Bowling and Vic Chappelle, of course.
All right, first of all, my name's David Slatton, and I was real fortunate to move in over here with all these guys. It was life-altering. The thing that I want to say right now is I'm only here because of my personal Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. And I mean, without that, my next breath wouldn't even be, I wouldn't be able to take that. With that said, there's some that aren't. We had 4 quarterbacks. I was one, Jackie Hill, Johnny Wolf, and Donnie Hale. And those 3 are gone, as well as our best friend, Larry Hurst. So there's some that aren't here. So I'd like to have a moment of silence and recognition to honor them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, so we're going to play the film. As I said earlier, I don't know if you were able to hear me or not. Can you hear me now? A little closer. I obtained this film from the El Reno superintendent. I went and asked him for it one day, and he said search around, so I went about 10 different places till I finally found it. And Dale Holland, their All-State halfback, that some of you may remember, I think all of you remember him, the players do. He was kind of a short halfback, but he hit real hard. He was All-State along with David Slatton, David Slatton. But anyway, he had the film, and so the people downtown Reno, El Reno, that have a picture and photograph studio were able to get the film for me and make copies, and so that's what we're using today, is El Reno's copy. The original copy was burned in Coach Torrey's fire, he told me, and unfortunately we don't have a copy of that, or the ones that any that we do are not in very good shape. But this is a pretty good film, so I want to start talking about it. And Joe Lamb, where's Joe?
Right, Joe.
Joe's got, where's Curtis? I'm going to turn the microphone over to them. This is kind of a close quarter group here, so. Okay. All right, so the first thing we want to do is talk a little bit about the game scenario and riding down on the bus and what it was like, and the cheerleaders and everybody getting there and being real surprised at the field. So let's talk about the pregame, the kind of warm-up thing. Does anybody have a comment to make about the field?
Well, first of all, can you hear me all right? Closer even? Okay. First of all, the bus was really nice, and as normal on most away games, Curtis and I sat next to each other and acted like we were talking about the game. And we got there, and it was fairly chilly. We all got free long underwear from the mothers. It wasn't exactly Under Armour like we have today, but it kept us warm. It was a bit frosty, a bit windy, and I remember that the yard markers were a little taller than normal because somebody came up with the idea of watering so well, I didn't. I was too slow to, I could step over them with my speed.
I thought they were boards. Because in baseball, the foul lines in the outfield, a lot of times in the nicer parks at that time, were white boards out there. And I did. And I thought, David, you were tackled on one of those. That's what broke your arm. But you told me last night it was hauling. But I was reaching, I couldn't believe it. They were that hard. Another funny story about the bus. My buddy here, we sat together, and I think Arthur Mincham, and who was behind us, Denny? Denny Stanford. So Arthur, which we call JR class, because one day the hallway was pestered. We had the spirit stick, remember? And the juniors that had this hall just plastered with signs, and they would sign it JR class so they could get recognition for the spirit stick. Well, Arthur comes up, and he told Arlie, he goes, I don't know who this JR class fella is, but he sure made a lot of signs. So anyway, he's on the bus, and so he's looking at, talk about not men off the block. A lot of us were that way, but he was turning on the reading lamps. And he goes, what are these? And Arlie said, well, those are sun lamps. And it's for people that's like traveling to Florida from Oklahoma. They can get a tan before they get to the beach, and that way they don't get sunburned. And Arthur goes, oh, well, I'm turning mine off. I'll have to wait till after the game. Talking about the game, So anyway, everything we played, won, all that. So we would get back on the bus, and I don't know where we were. We'd been traveling a while, and I get this. Artie goes, look. And behind me, Arthur and Denny, they got the lamps on there like this, getting a suntan. Yeah, got their shirts off, too. Then when we get back, they get out of the bus, and they're going, oh, boy, my neck.
I'm Tommy Marshall. I was a junior during this game. And it started out, I didn't get to start this game. I started all year long, and then a good friend, Mike Pennington, got to start. And I just remember it being so cotton picking cold. I don't know how you got off saying it was cool. But it was so cotton picking cold that every time somebody would score a touchdown or make a good play, I thought my head was going to explode.
Say your name, please.
Okay, Joe. He's always been pushy. No, I'm Dave Wren. The only injury I had was when we first run out there to warm up. The chalk line was so high and frozen, I injured my back. It didn't give a bit. All I got, all I was doing.
I'm Joe Lamb, and I was a junior like Tom. I got to play center on offense and linebacker on defense. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember it being cold. I really don't. But I played both ways, and I never got cold. But I loved the game. I loved, because of the seniors we had on the team, taught us juniors so much on the dedication of the game and how to play together. And I think that was our success, that we played together. Thank you.
My name's Larry Timbrook. This was my first year over here that year, coming from Webster, and it was just an enjoyable year for me to come over here and be with these guys.
I'm Gerald Ryder, and that was, a big deal for us. It was one of the highlights of our, career at Charles Page High School. The only thing I really remember about that night is that it was very cold, and I landed on the ground several times, and it was extremely hard.
Well, I'm Dave Treadwell, and as a teacher and a coach for 17 years out of a varied career, what we were able to accomplish as a team was really remarkable. I remember Joe Lamb, 100 and how many pounds, Joe? 140 pounds as our center. Of course, Ricky was on one side and Curtis was on the other. Did y'all double team a lot? Do you remember? Well, I've never seen, in my coaching career, I've never seen, centers that small. But Joe was quick and Joe was tough. Joe was a wrestler. And anyway, our closest game all year long was our very first game against Henrietta. And then Rex caught that flare pass and scored the winning touchdown. But, and then I remember the Okmulgee game. We had, 300 and some odd yards offense. And we had, 150 to 200 yards in penalties. That game, well, the officials, we had to play Okmulgee and the officials. I always went downfield to block. And the first time we went downfield to block, the defender turned his back and I clipped his heels. Well, out comes the flag. Okay, I can buy that. So, next time I went downfield and he turned his back, I went to my knees and never touched him. Out comes the flag. And this happened all night long, not just when I was blocking, but when other people were blocking. And so we played 11 people plus the officials that night. And we won by 7-0. So our closest game was our first one, and then our conference championship against Okmulgee, and then the state game, 7-0. But what a remarkable group of guys. I thought it was cold. And how come you guys didn't tackle that fullback before he got to me and I broke my arm? But wouldn't trade it for the world.
I'm Curtis Fisher. Was on the team, obviously. This was one of the highlights of high school. It's been one of the things that I've kind of carried with me through the rest of my life. It's almost embarrassing how important it is to me. But that's high school. High school is it's a formative time for everybody. And I do want to say there'll be a spot in this film where, did anybody see the film with Robin Williams, 1986 or so, called The Best of Times? He played a high school player that dropped the pass, that didn't win the big game. Well, I have a Robin Williams moment in this film. I've been waiting 50 years to apologize about it. So anyway, but all I say, they were tough. It was a hard game. great group of guys, great memories. I'll have more to say later. Rex, did you talk? Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't. Ronnie.
I'm Rex Goad, and life's been pretty easy. I made it through one of Coach Tillery's football practices, and life's been pretty easy since then. It was grueling at times. The shoot, you know, the two-a-days. Nobody knows what we're talking about, but you know, the whole thing is that we had a team mentality, and football is definitely a team sport, and nobody deserves any more glory than any of the others sitting here. And Coach Tillery and Dunlap and Coach Lyons and Don Johnson and Harold Latham, you know, we owe great thanks to those gentlemen, and the guys before us. We learned a lot from our, you know, seniors and juniors when we were struggling, and so yeah. Anyway, I'm pleased that I'm part of this team, and we have a relationship that will never die. And even though we probably all should move forward from this 50-year celebration, and we'll get by this. So thank you guys for coming.
My name's Arlie Christmas, and I must have got a different set of underwear than Joe did that night, because I froze to death. But what I remember most that night is I had my foot down in a smudge pot on the sideline trying to thaw my foot out and caught my cleat on fire. And I looked down and my cleat's burning, and so I finished the rest of the game with the bottom of one cleat melted off and cleats on the other one. But one of the things I remember that year, we were in practice and we wasn't having a very good day. And so Coach Tillery's going to use some psychology, and he said, well, I'll tell you what, if you guys don't want to play no more than that, just hit the field house. So we take off. And he told one of the other coaches later, he said, you know, I guess I used the wrong psychology on this group of guys because we just wanted out of there. But it was, yes, Coach Lyons, they played good cop, bad cop. And it took me a long time to figure out. Coach Lyons was always bad cop. And Coach Lyons would get on you, and then Coach Tillery would put his arm around you and say, now you better hook them up a little more. You're getting Coach Lyons mad. Well, I was a coach for many years, and it took me years to figure out that, wait a minute, they were playing us, you know. So I ended up being bad cop, because I guess I paid more attention to Coach Lyons. But it was this group of guys, we could not see each other for 10 years. And we can get together, and within 5 minutes, it's like we've never been apart. You know, and like David said, I think we've got 5 or 6 off of that team that's left us. But that team, the coaches had such influence on us. There wasn't that many. There was like, 34, counting from sophomores all the way. 7 of those players became football coaches and teachers. So it shows you that when you love something enough, you know, and wrestling coaches, both. Coach Lyons was our wrestling coach, but it was one of those that you loved it so much, the best thing next to playing is coaching. And I figured that out when I started coaching. But a friend of ours at NEO, Stan Beasley, told us, he said, I had never heard of Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Never knew it existed. Well, he's from Tecumseh, and they always, Ada was the gods up there. And he said, every week we would see this Sand Springs team won a ball game. And they won the next week and the next. And he said, but when you beat Ada in the playoffs, he said, right then, we all took notice and said, we're going to go find out where this Sand Springs is, because if you can beat Ada, you got a good football team. And so, like I said, it's that experience that, you know, I know there'll come a day when Sand Springs will win another state championship. And I've got mixed emotions about that. You know, sometimes I went to the state championship game and I sat up there and it's like, oh, do I want them to win or don't I want them to win? And then when they lost, I knew I wasn't that upset. So I thought, okay, all right, we get another shot. So, but anyhow, it was a time in my life that is priceless. You know, you don't put prices on certain things, and this friendship right here, we're a family. We're not just friends, we're a family. And it's great that Ricky got this set up, and I hope everybody enjoys as much as we do.
I'm Mark Stevens. I was a junior that year. I transferred from Tulsa. I was supposed to go to Tulsa Central my sophomore year. I transferred over here and I didn't get to play football my first year. But I went out the second year, and Coach Tillery talking about two-a-days. If you could survive two-a-days, you could survive anything. And I went through two-a-days my junior year, and we had a scrimmage, and I broke my leg in the scrimmage like 2 weeks after the season had started. And I didn't get to play, but I made the traveling squad. There was about 8 of us juniors that made the traveling squad. So Tommy Marshall, Ronnie Knight, Donnie Hale, Sammy Northern, me, Mike Newell, and am I forgetting anybody? Joe. But Joe made the A squad anyway. He was an A-teamer. So anyway, I was in the press box that night. I got to do all the help the press people because I knew everybody's name and number. So that's where I was at on the state champion game.
How cold was it in the press box?
It was cold, but no, I even got a set of long underwear too that night in the locker room. You guys are great. Say hi, Ronnie.
This is Donnie Knight.
I just like to say what I appreciated most was the fans. The fans bolstered us to do better. And the cheerleaders. I mean, we had an outstanding group, but the fans were the great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those comments. I think it's worthwhile to give everybody a chance to comment. I want to say hi to Coach Lyons. Thanks for coming, Coach. My wrestling and football linebacker coach.
Got a few things to say. The coldest guy there that night was Frank Tillery. I don't know if you all guys were familiar with his game shirt. He had that white shirt, and he'd sweat the armpits out of that damn thing. And he had to be cold as anything could be on. And as far as narrating this thing, I was in the press box. And Don Johnson and I were up there, and we couldn't see out. We was trying to scratch that ice off that windshield with our fingernails. He finally left and went down there. He said, "Are you going with me?" I said, "No." I said, "This is the warmest place I found in this stadium." And so at halftime, we went out and a guy we got an ice scraper out. And Frank asked me, he said, "You going to stay down here?" I said, "No, I'm going back up there and scrape ice." So I really didn't see the first half at all. So you all are on your own in telling what's going on here. But it was I wonder, has anybody heard from Harold Latham in years and years? Carl White, you all remember Carl. He was the only person that had contact with Harold, and I talked to him when I was at Broken Arrow. And he said Harold was up in Washington, somewhere up in Washington State, up there. But that was 25 years ago. And the only thing I remember about that I can remember about the game was Johnny Wolf with his blue sleeves and I think the quarterback threw it straight to him. It wasn't any doubt in my mind. I did see that. But it's good to see you guys all get together again. And such this, I recognize most of you. Had a hard time with David. But Chris, that seat is still too. You all get carried.
So you can watch the film and watch for some numbers. I'm number 60, Curtis is number 70. We walked the team out on the field with number 81. I think it says Mike Myers, but the guy looked so tall we couldn't quite figure that out. But anyway, I had played linebacker a whole of the season, except I hurt my ankle real bad in the broken arrow game. I think it was probably broken. Back then they took x-rays and no, everything's okay, you know. But it was awful swollen. And so just before the last game, the state championship game, Coach Tillery called me to the side and he said, we want you to play guard because we feel like Johnny Wolf can make better cuts at linebacker than you with your bad ankle. So I played guard. So I'll be number 60 in the film. But it was a great game and we all enjoyed it very much and ended an undefeated season. We expected it, didn't we, guys? We expected to win. Yeah.
One time, my hair was growing long. I remember Tom DeGarmo, who's not with us anymore, but he came from California. He was one of the first. Him and Denny Storm had the long hair. So I had my hair. I thought I'd let my hair grow out. Coach Lyons said, David, you got to cut that hair. Yes, sir. Okay, Coach. Okay, Coach. 3 or 4 days later, David, you're going to have to cut your hair. I said, okay, Coach, I got it. Well, it was Friday. He said, if you don't come back Monday with that haircut, with your haircut, we're going to take care of it. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't. And I get back, so he takes tape scissors. And he cuts my hair. Of course, you couldn't do that these days. Well, I go home, and my mom said, son, what happened to your hair? And I said, well, Coach Lyons cut it for me. Well, why? I said, well, he told me to get it cut, and I didn't do it. He goes, well, you should have got it cut. My dad died when I was 12. And if it hadn't been for my coaches, I'd been in McAllister. I'm pretty sure of it. And I almost was anyway, a couple of times. But I said this, and I've been in coaching now 41 years, that the reason that I went into coaching, if I could help one kid, just one, like my coaches, what they did for me, and the discipline that they gave me, because my mom was a great woman, God-fearing, praying woman, and but I was a little ornery, I guess you'd say. And if it wasn't for those guys, if it wasn't for Frank Tillery and Bobby Lyons especially, keeping me lined out, there's no telling what would have happened. So thank you, Coach.
David has agreed to talk about the offense a little bit. I'm going to talk about the defense. When we kind of want to interpret the film a little bit, and if you read the article that we provided, it talks about several things that happened during the game. But I'll talk a little bit about our defense. I used to call the signals on defense, and what we would do is generally speaking, we would line up head on to another player. So if this is the team's offensive line here, then the linebackers and the linemen would usually line head up on them. So you'd have a lineman here and a linebacker right behind him, and a lineman here and a linebacker right behind him, say, and maybe one other lineman over here. So we would do what's called a stunt in this case. When we lined up head on, this player would go to this side and this player would go to this side typically if we were rushing the passer, for example. Or these people would decide over here. The way it was done was the person behind you would press on the side of your hip if he wanted you to go to the left or the right. And so during that game, since I played on the line, I got the side of my hip pressed. But before that, I'd been pressing everybody else's side of the hip because I motioned for them where we want to go. So this is called a stunt. The stunt defense. One would go one way and one would go the other way. So maybe this one would decide to go this way and this one would go this way. But basically, you're keeping the offensive line confused. Keeping the offensive line confused by calling your signals like that. Now, There was another defense called a gap defense, which we did when we usually got close to the goal line, and it was very simple. Instead of lining up head on, all these players just line up in the gap right here. And we didn't do any stunning in this case. This was usually they just needed a few yards for the first down or something like that. And we would just dig in and go in like this. So those are the two basic defenses we run. We run a stunt defense and a gap defense. We also would run a slant defense. Sometimes we would line up everybody head on, and we would call a slant right. So everybody was head on, and so all these players would slant to the right. And the reason we would do this, if I sensed that a play was going to this side, it would be all the linemen and the linebackers and everybody would be in an optimum position for it to make a play. If the play is going this way, we would slant this way. If the play was going that way, well, you say, how do you know? I guessed, or I just tried to sense what was happening by the way the stances were or other plays they had played. You guys didn't realize, but we would study these teams quite a bit before the games and take home their plays and figure out what kind of formations they did what in. So this El Reno game was no different, but you can watch for that. I think most of the stuff we did was head on because he was dropping back and passing a lot. They had a real good passer, Kenny Ray. You want to talk about the offense a little bit?
Yeah, real quick. We're basically a slot I football team. We flip-flop our line, or a T formation, or a power I, and a power I opposite. So, so there was our slot. Right there. And then we would shift. The tailback would come over here. We come back here. Then we're in a wing T type situation, which was good for me. Larry and Ronnie, but Larry ran a 900 yard. He had world-class speed. So anytime that he would do this and Jackie would do that, the defense was out, and I would always come back with the counter, and they were always biting on Larry. So all that opened me up. So like if we were going to go into the wing T, we'd be here, and then Larry would shift here, and I would come back here. And it's also a good fullback offense with the fullback trap. Rex did a great job there. He was so quick, he was hard to bring down as well. All the linemen did well, but one of the things that the coaches said that played us was our team speed. We could run. Everybody could run. I mean, we were fast. Rex set the high school hurdle record. Larry ran a 9.9. Jackie was around a 10 flat, 10.1. I was in there somewhere. I looked slow, but I think I'd been one of the fastest guys on other teams. So that we were quick. Our coaches were great to know that we weren't going to really overpower a lot of guys. So they came up with a lot of things that utilized our quickness and our speed. I think, David, how much did you weigh? 230? 100? 205. 205. He was our strong side tackle. And Gerald, 175. I weighed 185. So I was as big as most of our linemen. So, but we could run, and we could flip-flop, and we kept people off balance.
Thank you, David. Anybody else have a comment or question? Anybody in the audience? We're going to show the film, yes. Give your name, please.
I know it's on the brochure and stuff here. I look at Spanish Springs team, El Reno team. El Reno was much larger. They beat up a much larger team.
Now, also look on some of their jerseys. You know what they had written on their jerseys? Sac Sand. It was written right across the bottom of their jersey. Yeah. Yes.
I'm Manjit Rostam, and I was the exchange student that year. And When I arrived here and everybody was talking about football, I became intrigued that on the day of the game there would be a certain buzz in the school. Wherever you went, the buzz seemed to grow and increase during the course of the day. And then we'd go into the hall for the assembly, and that sort of added to it. But the very first game I went into, and I sat, because I became part of the pep club, and I sat in the stadium and I looked across the field and I thought, hang on, those aren't football goalposts. And the size looks different, and the lines are different. And then as the team came out, I thought, who are these guys? All sort of, they looked like hunks with helmets and all sorts of safety clothes, etc. Because I'd expected to see 11 young men in shorts and a little round ball. But then I realized that my football was actually what you call soccer. So you guys actually introduced me to the game of football. And I was so privileged that as being part of the pep club, I went to every game. And I enjoyed every game, despite being very, very cold at times. But it was one of the highlights, of the many highlights I had here, that I was here the year that you guys won so much. And I really want to thank you for giving me that highlight in that year I was here. Thank you.
Who else has a comment before we show the film? Anybody got anything to say?
I want to say something about you. This guy would come out and practice, and we're standing around waiting for the coaches to come out. And you better get your helmet on, because he's going around hitting you right in the head, just giving you a straight dive right in. Thought it was funny.
On 2 days when it started out, I'd go to practice in the morning, and then I'd get off, and I'd have to go to work. And I'd get off work, and I'd go to practice. So one day, I was taking a shower before practice, and Coach Tillery asked me, "What are you doing taking a shower?" I said, "Well, I'm dirty." He said, "You not take one this morning?" I said, "Yeah, but I got to work in between practices." And he looked at me and said, "No wonder you're so damn mean."
Anybody else going to show the film? You guys ready then? Yeah. Okay, this is the one that's never been seen by us. This has the whole team out on the field and 3 of their players. So that tells you something right there.
Stop for a second. Speaking of the toss, this didn't happen in any other game. The ref handed me the coin. After that we called tails, we won, we got the ball. That's the coin. It's been knocking around in a drawer for 50 years. So anyway, you can look at it. I won't let anybody touch it.
We get to the game. Jackie, our starting quarterback, number 13, Jackie, had forgot his jersey and left it at home. Well, I kind of got excited because I thought I was going to get to play quarterback, which was my position in the first place. But Northwest Classen had a white jerseys. They were dark purple and gold, and they looked quite a bit like ours. So they got Jackie a jersey, but you can see right there it's a little different.
We won the flip. There we go. We're all getting ready to play. Now this, I want you to look at this. This thing was shot by the blunderbuss. You know what that is that was shot? The mascot for the El Reno is El Reno Indians. So the same thing happened during the Broken Arrow game, I'm told. They put him in a coffin. Not correct at all, but okay. Here now, this is El Reno kicking off. That's Ronald Knight. Ronald Knight's here. He carried the ball there. Ronald, did you have anything to say about that? Jackie under center. Jackie bootleg.
48 boot at 9. Good yardage, good run by Jackie. That's our slot eye. The guy that I was supposed to block made the tackle. There we're in our wing T set.
We need a microphone.
Now we're in a wing T set. Ooh. Yeah. Those Rex. Got 3 tough yardage. Yeah, there's Larry. That's punter. Jackie Hill made the tackle, or quarterback. Not many quarterbacks make tackles. So is that the fumble you recovered there, Ricky?
No, later. Somebody did.
David, did you recover?
Is that a bootleg?
Yeah, it was a boot.
Jackie had some good runs in this game.
Jackie was a heck of a football player, athlete, really. Could do anything. Oh, I got kind of a block there. That was Ronnie. There's Rex. Or no, that was Ronnie. End around. Yeah, it was David. End around today. We opened up with that play against Broken Arrow and almost scored. That's Larry. Larry had a good game. Get some of that field position. There's the defense, swarming.
El Reno's been in the state finals more than any school in Oklahoma to never win it. 5 times. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
One thing you can notice about our defense. It wasn't just one person making the tackle. There's usually 4 or 5 people making the tackle. And what Coach Tillery taught us and what Coach Lyons taught us was don't stop until the whistle blows. You keep charging, you keep fighting, you keep trying to get to the ball because you never know what's going to happen. So this is the wing eye set here. Look, is that handed off to Larry inside?
No, it's to me. It's a fake sweep, and it was me coming back in.
Oh, that was you, David.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little trap.
Little quick,
catch the ball.
Look-in
Flattened.
pass.
That was off my hands.
Is
Should
that
have
you,
caught
David?
it.
We have to accept the good with the bad sometimes, don't we? They were almost offsides there.
Another boot.
Another bootleg.
That's a good catch. That's David.
David, that wasn't where you were hurt, was it?
There's another boot.
There's another bootleg. Jackie made some good runs on
Oh,
those
man.
plays.
Go, Jackie. There we go. Jackie Hill.
Charles Page touchdown.
Jackie won the Apollo Award that year for the outstanding athlete. He was 4-sport letterman. Baseball, track, basketball, and football.
Looks like somebody tried to hand the ball off. Is that you, David?
That was end around. David did a good job of getting back on the ball. El Reno was real quick to pursue. That was. Yeah, we should have scored right here. Larry coming in. That That was a great run by Larry Hurst. Mind you, both our touchdowns were from guys that are no longer with us in body.
Looks like they tried to catch it and missed it or touched it or something.
Here's the stunt that Ricky was talking about. Oh, no.
Yeah, we used to do the stunt on the punts too.
That's the same play.
I backed it up too far a while ago. Now we're back to where we were.
There's the end
This
around.
is David. It looks like Jackie was going to throw it and then he pitched it to David. Is that right, David?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Statue of Liberty. Then we can go home. Huh.
Must be the second half. Yeah, that's the second half started.
Yeah, and speaking about defense winning championships, the only way El Reno scored is they fumbled. We had to actually stop them on about the 2-yard line. They fumbled in the end zone and recovered. That's how they scored. Okay. Yeah, he called it. Dale Holland's number 40. Kenny Ray's number 10. Yep. They were and coached together at Ponca City. Kenny was the head coach and Dale was the
The
assistant.
ball now. Maybe next play. That was a good break up there.
Good pressure. Good. David's still in the ballgame. So it's nice. Good pressure. Golly. It's a good catch and run.
That wasn't it, was it, David? Yeah, but Jimmy came in for you after you got hurt. That was Ronald Knight, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Ronald. We're in the slot eye here. That was called 22. Pitch. Now we're in the wing. Just this dive right. Try to get 3 yards or 4. There's Rex. Is that a dive or a trap? Is that right?
That was Jackie kicking again.
Yeah, Jackie was our punter.
So there's no more scoring in the game, just defense played. But they had us on penetrations. They got inside our 20 more than we did.
There you go, Ricky. That's the one you recovered.
Yeah, I guess that was the one I got.
Uh-huh.
Is that you, David?
That was that was a 498
David,
sweep.
You had some great runs here this last quarter.
I had some great blocking. Here it again, 498 to the left.
Same thing. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That was Rex, I believe. Coach Dunlap said Rex was real instrumental in this last couple of drives here. That ball was tipped, almost caught.
Yeah.
There's John Wolf holding. Fake.
Fake field goal.
Is that you, David?
No, it's Larry. Larry caught the ball, and he said he was in bounds, and Kenny Ray said he was out of bounds, and the referee did not give that to us. That was another touchdown. But Larry told me, he said, my foot was in bounds. That was Larry Caviot making a tackle.
They're a pretty energetic team, I'll tell you. Arena was a pretty strong team.
We were look at the 5 and 6, 7 white jerseys around the football all time. You can't beat gang tackling. Joe's getting ready to stunt. That's a touchdown saving tackle, but David, is that it right there?
No.
Pass.
Yeah, we're playing a little conservative here, rightly so.
This is where we quick kicked on 3rd down.
That's David that just
I was
quick kicked.
kicking. Get us out of the hole. Our coaches was playing field position. They had a lot of confidence in our defense.
Here's our dear friend
Here comes the
John.
stunt.
Here's our dear friend John Wolf right here, right behind me.
Yeah.
Just
Larry.
just missed a tackle.
Just. Joe
Wolf,
Lamb did.
John Wolf took my place. I think I mentioned that because my leg was pretty bad hurt.
Joe. Ooh. Mm-hmm.
First down. All they need is a touchdown, right?
This is what the coaches call you bend, but you don't break. He ran hard. Yeah, not hard enough. Not quite hard enough.
This is John Wolf lined up behind me there. The reason I mentioned John's name, he intercepted 2 or 3 passes in this game.
They're down in 8-yard line, 7-yard line. Fumbled the ball, or ran out of down. That's me carrying the ball.
Uh-oh. The guy waited a long time to drop the flag, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually got set. We're in the power eye. Quick kick.
Another quick kick.
If you notice, that ball was a line drive. That was one of my better kicks. Oh, there's a clip. They just clipped you, Ronnie. They call it? No. They just clipped you. Interception. Johnny. Yeah, that was Johnny Wolf on Oski. There's Ronnie. There's a little 49. That was the first down. There's another little run. Yeah, I got about 3 or 4. Quarterback sneak, trying to pick up the first down.
We're just trying to kill the clock at this or kill the game. We didn't have much experience.
Third down right here, third and short, third and looks like 3. Jackie fumble. Uh-oh. Back then the flags were red. That was it.
Undefeated season, 12-0, and I don't think any of us are really surprised. We expected to win.
There wasn't a person on our team even thought about losing.
No.
That wasn't even a mindset for us.
Not even think about it, yeah.
No. It was we're going to win another one.
Coach, you got any more words for us?
At the beginning of the year, we were ranked 10th, and Okmulgee was ahead of us, Broken Arrow was ahead of us. We just kept coming up those stats. Win another game after another game. Eventually got to 5th and 4th and 3rd, and we beat Okmulgee, and then we were right up there.
One of the things that helped us was the year before, we were a bunch of juniors. We had some seniors, but we were junior loaded, and we were 4-0. And back then, you played your homecoming was your tough, what you thought was going to be your toughest opponent. Nowadays, we want to pick our weakest because of all the activities that's going on. It's hard to keep your kids focused. But anyway, we were playing Miami, Oklahoma, who was number 1. They had Steve Owens, who won the Heisman Trophy at OU. Steve never scored a touchdown, but he ran over every extra point. We were ahead 21-7 at halftime. And then they came back and beat us 24-21. And the seniors kind of just, nobody thought anybody was going to beat Miami and Steve Owens. And Broken Arrow did. But we kind of watched our seniors' leadership, I don't know how to say this tactfully, melt away, thank you. And so we as juniors learned a lesson, and we were bound that was not going to happen. There was, I mean, in the huddle was crazy. Owens was, give me the ball, and Frazier would say, shut up. Remember how chaotic it was. Well, we decided that was not going to happen to us. We were going to be a band of brothers, and it paid off for us.
Steve Owens, he played hard, but we was keying on him, and he had like 55 yards total, no score. Well, he scored one time. I remember he come up the middle. He told us he was coming on the goal line, and the linebacker met him, and they fell back into the end zone. No, because he told him after Steve Austin hit him, he wanted to know who hit him because it hurt him.
I would like to say that I think we skipped over a little bit. It's very hard to control the playback of the DVD on a. I'm just very thankful that my apology moment never appeared on the screen. So the big run that they made. Anyway, David.
Show our acumen regarding football. We played Claremore, and they'd scouted us, and I was split in. So I ran a flag route down here, and both the halfback, well, there was only the halfback, he turned and headed where I was going before I ever made my break. So I came back to the huddle, and I told Jackie, I said, Jackie, they've scouted us. I'm going to fake the flag and go to the post. Everybody do everything just like we did in the last play. And so we did it, and I walked into the end zone. I mean, that's kind of we were pretty smart players, believe it or not.
was the only state championship Sand Springs had ever had when we did that. Now they've had several, but none in football. So, congratulations to our guys.